Why?
Yes, absolutely. Because this is a movie that was made in 1937 and is being remade in 2024. And you sit here moaning about the differences between those two movies, like 1937 were the glory days.
What?
Well, what are you talking about? Why are you offended by this movie? Why do you think people are not
Because they replaced the dwarves with CGI abominations. They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them. Looks like somehow Gal Gadot, who's easily one of the top 10 most attractive women on the planet, is some evil, ugly stepmother, which she is not. I don't know how she burst out laughing.
Yeah,
saying,
none of it
who's
works.
the first of them all,
None
and
of it
looking
is
at
actually
Rachel.
the truth.
Yeah.
Let's bring in our two YouTube experts, because Critical Drinker, your YouTube video on the trailer has now been viewed nearly 2.5 million times, and you said the new dwarfs look is nightmare fuel. Can you explain that for us, please?
Yeah, so what they've obviously tried to do is retain the artistic aesthetic of the cartoon from the 1930s, but transpose it into a live-action movie, and it just looks horrific. It's so out of place. And when you see them dancing next to Rachel Zegler, who's an actual human actor, it just looks awful. They don't match up. They're deep into the uncanny valley. It is the worst possible choice they could have made. It would have been so much... It would be so much easier if they just used actual...
Well, this is an interesting debate. So welcome back to Views with Hughes, Jennifer News. This is Jerome Hughes. We're going to go ahead and get right into this interesting debate over Rachel Zegler from the Snow White movie. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get right into this whole big thing. We're going to dissect the recent Piers Morgan show debate where Critical Drinker, Nerdrotic, and a Disney shill clashed over Disney's latest remake of Snow White, okay? And this discussion is more than just, you know, about a film like Snow White and Rachel Zegler. It's about the reflection of Disney's current trajectory and broader commentary on how the entertainment industry is handling its beloved franchises. So we're going to break down why this remake was particularly, with Rachel Zegler involved, turning into a colossal misstep, as they would call, or basically a curse, and what this means for Disney and Bob Iger. So Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic appeared on Piers Morgan's show, bringing their critiques to the table against a Disney spokesperson or shill defending the new Snow White remake. And the Disney shill argued that the film starring Rachel Zegler represents a modern progressive update to a classic, suggesting that it's being unfairly targeted. And Disney also claims that this new version of Snow White starring Rachel Zegler is meant to resonate with contemporary audiences, as Rachel Zegler said before, and reflect modern values. However, this so-called modernization has missed the mark in significant ways, particularly how Rachel Zegler and her portrayal is being received. So we're going to go ahead and continue watching the remainder of the debate right now.
Why is no one offended about the new Lord of the Rings show on Amazon, where they have actors, non-dwarf actors playing dwarfs? Why are we not talking about that? Why is no one offended about that? Why are we just picking on Disney?
Well, I am now you mentioned it.
Yeah,
well, you should be.
There's room for outrage.
But there isn't, is there? You're just firing
I'm offended about the whole show
Snow
personally,
White because they're trying to do something different.
Hey, man. You want to talk to me about Rings of Power? I will talk your ear off for hours,
Let's
but
go.
like we're here to discuss Snow White. So what do you want me to say?
Yeah, no, exactly. Let's bring in. I want to bring in Nerdrotic, because what this is really about is the fact that the people who are most angry about this are not people like me who were saying, well, why the hell are they doing this? It's such crap. It was actual dwarf actors who rely on movies like this, which literally are about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. They rely on that for really significant income. If you're a dwarf actor and you land a part in one of these movies, you make a lot of money. And yet suddenly it's been taken away from you. That's what incenses me on their behalf.
Yeah, this is where political correctness paints itself into a corner every single time. You find yourself with very strange bedfellows in this. And it's not just the actors, it's Disney fans. Disney fans are offended by Rachel Zegler's comments, disrespecting the movie that made Disney. And this is why there is 1 million dislikes on this trailer. And it's a culmination of creative bankruptcy. If this movie just existed on its own, it probably wouldn't be that much of a controversy. But if you add a singular Peter Dinklage interview that cost dwarf actors their jobs.
Yeah.
And Zegler out there popping off and fanning the flames, along with everything Disney's done over the last 6 years. You have Snow White.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the point.
But this is faux outrage.
James, here's my point. James. If you had a gay-themed movie, right, and it had potentially parts for 6 great gay characters, right? Say there was a book and it had 6 great gay characters in it. And there were lots of gay actors who would love to play those roles, right? And suddenly it was decided that that could not happen, that actually no gay actors would be allowed to play any of those roles. You would be on here leading the charge of outrage that gay actors were being deprived work when it was literally in their wheelhouse. And that's the argument which I don't think you're quite computing.
No, and I agree with you. I would be somewhat outraged, but I think there's something deeper going on here in that we're talking about stereotypes. I'm normally offended if a gay person misses out on a gay role, if a straight person is playing a camp, overtly gay stereotype.
Right, so why are you not upset?
What they're trying to do here is make it more inclusive. Plus, also remember,
it's not inclusive.
The
It's a
original.
robot.
They're trying to.
They are literally
stereotype.
They're literally excluding
why are we
dwarves.
pretending that Hollywood is a fair place for actors?
It's not about that. But the thing is, they didn't even. Hold on.
The world isn't a fair place.
They were cartoons in the original film.
Human actress. So they have a human actress dancing next to 6
But
green
how far do we
dummies.
go with this faux outrage? Are we going to say that actual, like in the movie Pets, all
by
pets
letting
need to be
actors
actual
act.
animals?
Because are
we going to say that Yoda needs to be played by...
It's people like you that would be outraged that if an actor is not gay, you shouldn't play a gay role, when actors are literally paid to act. So how about we just let actors act? And if you're going to cast human beings as human roles, then you shouldn't replace them with CGI abominations and say, oh, by the way, this is
if a dwarf actor...
I don't know why you keep saying outrage.
It's a point. It actually is an abomination.
There are so many CGI movies, and there are so many people that have played dwarves that have been... They've used CGI to do that, and no one's outraged. You're just outraged because Disney are trying to make the world a better...
Well, that's weird. I mean, that particular Disney show right there is trying to defend the whole Rachel Zegler movie with a bunch of nonsensical talking points right there. But the fact of the matter is that, no one actually likes this movie itself, okay? And, Rachel Zegler is also caught up in a lot of controversy with her comments about this, what she said leading up to the film being broken out and everything. And this show is definitely about to get destroyed.
Someone like Rachel Zegler, who's already in hot water, just stay away from politics for a little while. Just try and promote your crap movie and try and salvage something from this mess. But I guess you just couldn't.
The odd thing is actually, Nerdrotic, that Disney have just had a monster hit this summer, haven't they?
Yeah. 2. They've had 2. They've had actually a pretty good year. Yeah. If you think about it, Planet of the Apes, most with Fox properties, but Planet of the Apes did okay. Alien Romulus is doing pretty good. Inside Out 2 was the biggest movie of the year.
And you know what none of them
Deadpool
did?
And Wolverine is still crushing it.
Right, and none of them went down this stupid road. Right? In other words, when Disney just does what we want Disney to do, which is make great movies. I think Disney's a great company, historically a fantastic company, and it's done some great stuff this summer. Just do what you're good at. You don't need to do this stuff. If you just brought out a movie with Snow White and dwarf actors, everyone would have gone, great. That's the movie we want to see.
It wouldn't have been a problem.
No.
It wouldn't have been a problem. No, Disney helps fan the flames because they're so risk averse and they're so afraid of looking bad to one part of the audience. They don't give a crap about the majority of the audience who are just normal people who want to go and be entertained and escape.
Exactly.
They're so worried about their own people.
Yeah, it'll be a bomb. I can guarantee it.
Yes.
I want to...
Well, that's interesting right there. And you know what? A lot of people did make some good points up there. But I want to stick to this one. Critical Drinker made a key observation that's been evident to many. The new dwarfs in the character are just downright horrifying, okay? So Disney aimed to merge the classic 1937 cartoon's charm with the live-action Rachel Zegler adaptation, but the result is a disturbing visual mismatch. The dwarfs took look out to place of Rachel Zegler, who was after all a real human actor, and this dissonance pulls viewers out of the experience rather than drawing them in. And Disney had a golden opportunity to cast real dwarf actors with Rachel Zegler, adding both authenticity and respect to the portrayal of it, but instead they opted for a jarring visual approach that fails to capture the essence of the original. And even Rachel Zegler and her role in this mismatch highlights the failure to deliver a coherent, adaptation. Now, the particular issue lies directly into Disney's broader problem with political correctness in this Rachel Zegler Disney Snow White film. The Disney official argued that the film's updates, including those involving Rachel Zegler, are justified because they align with modern values, something that the people don't want. And they've removed the aspects from the original story that they deemed problematic, such as the romantic subplot, and replaced it with a woke narrative about Snow White's rise to leadership. But here's the crux of the problem. The trailer and marketing haven't even clarified what the film starring Rachel Zegler at its center is actually about. Instead of providing a clear picture of the story with Rachel Zegler and the themes, Disney has chosen to emphasize how this film starring Rachel Zegler is different from the original without explaining those differences in a meaningful way. Okay? Now, a particular fact of the matter is that critical drinkers' critique, also highlights a crucial point. Okay, you see, when a movie, even if it's with Rachel Zegler in a prominent role, looks objectively bad, no amount of political spin can save it. Okay, Disney's focus on political correctness rather than delivering a compelling narrative is actually a major misstep. Now, the visual aspects of the film, particularly the dwarfs in relation to Rachel Zegler, clash with what audiences expect from a Snow White remake, which could lead to a significant box office failure. Now, this situation underscores the consequences of prioritizing political agendas with the likes of Rachel Zegler over quality storytelling, especially when Rachel Zegler and her performance is a part of the problem. Now, Nerdrotic also brought in attention to another issue where Disney's marketing strategy. Fans of the original Snow White were outraged by Rachel Zegler and her comments disrespecting the classic film. Now, for decades, the original Snow White has a beloved and iconic piece of cinema, which was insulted by Rachel Zegler, and Disney's attempt to modernize it while alienating its original fan base, including those who admire Rachel Zegler and her previous work, is a recipe for disaster, okay? The million dislikes on the trailer are a stark indicator that Disney's strategy is actually backfiring. It doesn't even matter if you agree with Disney's and Rachel Zegler's political stance. A bad movie featuring Rachel Zegler prominently is still a bad movie. Disney and Bob Iger and Disney need to recognize that engaging storytelling and respect for the original material are what truly matter to audiences. And this particular issue of turning Snow White into a political statement, which Rachel Zegler has, rather than focusing on the story itself, is actually showing a larger trend. And Disney's approach to this remake with Rachel Zegler at the forefront reflects a broader shift in the industry where woke politics are often overshadowing the core aspects of filmmaking. And movies, even including Rachel Zegler, should be about compelling narratives and characters with things that resonate with audiences, not about pushing a specific woke political agenda. This shift in focus with why Disney films like Snow White, especially with Rachel Zegler's involvement, struggle to connect with viewers, okay? But just to illustrate this point further, let's also compare Disney's approach to Snow White with other films that have handled political themes effectively without alienating their audiences, okay? Now, take Barbie, for example. The film contained strong political messages, but its marketing was, crafted intelligently. It focused on how the film would make the audience feel rather than solely highlighting its political elements. Now, this strategy worked well, resulting in positive reviews from even those who didn't agree with the film's political stance. Disney could have learned a valuable lesson from this with the Rachel Zegler film Snow White and applied a similar approach to this film, particularly how they showcased Rachel Zegler and her role. But the fact of the matter is, they couldn't. But another significant issue was Rachel Zegler and her decision to inject political commentary into the film's promotion. By sharing the trailer with a free Palestine message, Rachel Zegler sparked considerable controversy, especially given her co-star Gal Gadot's Israeli background. And this movie starring Rachel Zegler only intensified the debate and further polarized potential audiences. And it's a prime example of how the political statements, even made by Rachel Zegler, can adversely affect a film's reception. And Rachel Zegler's comments could alienate viewers and even create tension with her co-star, adding yet another layer of complexity to an already troubled project starring Rachel Zegler. Now, additionally, there's a notable double standard when it comes to Disney's handling of political statements from its talent. Take, for example, Gina Carano. she was fired from Disney for her political views, leading to a lawsuit and significant backlash. Yeah, Disney's reaction to Rachel Zegler and her comments been markedly different. Now, while it's commendable that Rachel Zegler has been fired for her opinions, it raises questions about fairness and consistency in Disney's approach to woke political statements from its talent. Now, let's be honest. The entertainment industry should focus on delivering exceptional stories that unite audiences rather than pushing divisive political agendas, even the ones coming from Rachel Zegler. All right. Now, to finish this off, Disney's handling of the Snow White remake starring Rachel Zegler at the center of the controversy serves as a textbook example of how not to manage a cherished franchise by placing political correctness above quality storytelling, even in projects involving Rachel Zegler, and failing to honor the original material. Now, Disney is setting itself up for potential disaster with this Rachel Zegler film. The backlash from fans, the confusing marketing strategy, and the mishandling of the political commentary all highlight a significant issue within Disney's current approach to filmmaking, particularly as it relates to Rachel Zegler. So, what are your thoughts on this whole Rachel Zegler and Disney situation? How do you feel about Disney's handling of the Snow White and its broader implications for their franchises, including the movie starring Rachel Zegler? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional thoughts you might have this particular topic. If you enjoyed what I shared in this video, go ahead, smash the like button, and share far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, and you enjoy all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notification so that way you're notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.